afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You know, you can find us on the radio, icradio.media, television. You can find us on Channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, which is found worldwide on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Rob is the owner of Abundant Television. He keeps telling me we're going to be in Australia.
Wow.
So, Southern accent, you guys are going to have a big blast when we get to Australia. But you can also find our podcast on the newscasters.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. I have a good friend with me right now. Her name is Mrs. Schaefer, Jeannie Schaefer. You know what? My grandmother's name was Ginny. Of course, you don't look like my grandmother at all.
Not yet. Getting there.
No, you don't. And so that name has always been really dear to me as well. So, but anyway, thank you so much. You are a representative right here in our county, and let's talk about your area. Where are you, and as far as the map is concerned?
In DeKalb County, I have from Collinsville to Dogtown, over to Crossville, Kilpatrick, Geraldine up to Grove Oak, up to Butts Pocket State Park, and then all of Cherokee County.
And that's a nice area. We call it God's country.
It is God's country. I have the most beautiful district in the state.
Is.
I really do.
It's just riding out there, and and I think about people who want to relocate. You know, they want to buy some land at some really good pricing, and maybe live off the land just a little bit, have a garden or whatever. This is the place to come to.
Like you and I do.
Yeah, we're garden. She was on the show. She was running for office, and I had you in here. But was it jelly or jam?
We made strawberry
jam.
We did. That was fun.
But that was a blast. So we're going to do that again. We'll probably go fishing out at that 2-acre pond we have.
That's a plan.
Yeah. Well, the only thing about us, we're going to be competitive with each other. That'll be some show.
Who can catch the biggest fish?
Yeah. Well, so far I think Phil and I are competitive with that as well. So we've got some pretty big bass out there.
Wow.
So anyway, that's a good thing. Now I know you are very, very busy serving the folks, serving us, and we all appreciate that.
Well,
and some good recommendations also from our mayor. He's very pleased that Geraldine got to be in your district.
Me too. I fought to get y'all in my district and to unite the southern part of DeKalb County. It had been divided up like a pie, and there were 6 representatives and 3 senators, and no one knew who represented them. And so during redistricting, we got it together, and so I'm happy and honored to be the representative for District 39.
We lucked out. We really did. So let's talk about, I know you're very busy, session.
We're in the middle of the session.
Talk with the folks about, because a lot of folks say, I don't have a voice. And maybe where you lived in another area or you had another representative, you may not have, but you've got one right here. So how can folks get their voice heard?
Well, if they hear about legislation that's moving its way through the legislature, I always welcome hearing from my constituents, whether it be by calling my office, leaving a message, if Facebook Messenger, any way that you can contact me. And I may not be able to return every email. I do get about 200 to 300 emails a day, so I cannot answer them all, but I do read them and listen to the concerns and opinions about legislation. I really do try to vote my district when issues come up. And sometimes I have questions about how my constituents would feel, and I reach out to folks who maybe be in an occupation or have knowledge about a particular topic, and I want to know how the folks feel. I reach out frequently to my local communities, to the local government, cities, counties, to say, hey, how do y'all feel about this? So
well, let's talk about what you're responsible for, because somebody may call you about a cat being up in a tree. That wouldn't be the thing to call you about. So what would we call you about?
Well, we are legislators. We legislate. We are responsible for passing legislation. The only constitutional duty we have actually as legislators is passing the state budgets. And typically it's the last thing we do. We're just getting to them now. But just various, and if somebody contacts me and it's not my job, I do direct them to where they should go for an issue. So things like garbage and dog problems, those are local. Those are with their a city or town, and then issues like property tax or car tags, things like that. That's county level. So, and then sometimes people contact me. I was on the phone on the way here, somebody calling me about a Social Security issue, and that's federal. So I took the information and forwarded it to, well, that constituent was in Congressman Rogers' district, but, DeKalb County's in Congressman Adderholt's district. So, if they do contact me and it's not under my purview, I do try to direct them where they should go to get help for the
And it's
issue.
important we know that.
Right.
Because I know you're a very busy person. I know you don't mind directing us to the
I
right
don't mind.
folks. I know you don't. But, if you want to get an answer done, you need to know who to carry it to. So,
That's right.
and
It
and
helps to
that way
contact
it'll be
the
a
right
faster
person.
process, right? What are some things you're working on right now?
Well, we're like I said, we're just getting to the budgets. We passed in the House the Education Trust Fund budget. We have two budgets: education, and then the general fund is for every other state agency. And the Education Trust Fund budget this year was $9.3 billion to fund education in the state of Alabama, K through 12 and higher ed. And then the general fund was 3.3 billion. And so that's our number one constitutional duty, and we're getting to that. Other issues, of course, I'm a Republican, and the Republican caucus gets together before the session every year, and we try to work on issues that we see as a group that need to be addressed. And so we'll have bills that target those issues. This year we entitled our caucus platform Leadership That Works. And we identified about 10 different areas where we could see where some things needed to be addressed. And so there's been many bills passed that fit in with those topics. One being providing a quality education for the children of Alabama. And we passed the Choose Act, which is school choice. And so it's been rolled out under this budget, and it will expand as time goes on. And what it does is provide a tax credit for school tuition for if a parent chooses to send their student to a private school. It'll pay for a partial tuition there up to, I think it was $7,600, $7,600. The amount changed some there and there. But $2,000 if someone homeschools. And
okay.
Yes, with a cap of 4.
I am so glad to hear that.
So it's a refundable tax credit. Now the tuition is paid directly to the school. It's an education savings account, but the homeschool credit is a refundable tax credit. So the individual family that homeschools can submit to the Department of Revenue through their tax return certain items that are approved, like curriculum, a laptop, things like that, that they use in homeschooling, and then they will get a refundable tax credit up to $2,000 per child and a $4,000 cap per family.
I'm so glad that has been addressed. So my husband's sister homeschooled their kids.
Really?
And I'm just telling you, when Paula first said they were going to do this, I had some concerns. I was thinking, they're going to be antisocial, because they're only going to be, but there's so many groups out there. These kids are the brightest kids. And it's two boys, and the baby sister was speaking Spanish just by hanging around and listening to Paula teach the boys Spanish. And I just thought that was pretty awesome, and that you're bringing that to the table, and it's thought of seriously. I think that's a big step.
Well, I think the point is that to meet the child's need and where they thrive, and the type of educational opportunity that will help an individual child. Some do not do well in a classroom and would do better at home. Some might do better in a private school, depending on the child and the setting and a lot of different factors. So just letting the parent make that choice, what's best for their child.
Huge. Thank you for doing that. I mean, it's really huge. My son went to private school, went to Trinity Christian Academy in Oxford. And so that was a good school, but I didn't feel like we were getting any breaks, and it was really expensive, and I'm glad I did it, money was a little tight, but I'm glad we did it. And I'm glad to say that. Thank you. That's
Well,
huge.
this will be helpful to parents who want to provide a.
Mhm.
There's a few school systems where now they do not have too much of a choice,
Yeah.
but in some school areas, not in ours, but their only choice is a failing school. That is not a good choice.
No.
So this will give some
Our
options.
kids are important.
Right. And secondly, we have prohibited diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in our schools that
Mm-hmm.
were uh, teaching divisive concepts and, uh, frankly, uh, wokeism
Mm-hmm.
and things that are not helpful.
Well, that's
Uh,
why more people are homeschooling now.
that's
See.
exactly right. So we
Mm-hmm.
have prohibited the teaching of divisive concepts
Wonderful.
and the participation of schools in those programs.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's sad that we have to come down to it to say,
Mm-hmm.
which bathrooms kids use, but we've,
Mm-hmm.
had to put it into law that a child goes to the restroom based on the gender on their birth
Mm-hmm.
certificate.
Well, let's just
So,
get real. There are
yeah.
guys I went to school with that would have said, I think I'm a girl today, just so they could come in our locker room. It's just guys being guys. And that's a, thanks for doing that too. That needed to be a
Well, it's
closed
sad.
issue.
It's sad, but we've had to go as far as it was called the "What is a Woman" bill to
Mm-hmm.
define actually in the law definitions of man, woman, boy, girl, mother, father, on down the
Mm-hmm.
line, just to
Yeah.
have a legal definition in the state
Mm-hmm.
based on facts and the truth and science. How many times have we
Mm-hmm.
heard follow the
Yeah.
science? Okay, the science. There's two genders,
There's
and
That's all
so
you can say about it. I mean,
that's right. So we've even had to do that,
and our
unfortunately.
little kids, I mean,
So,
their brains are like sponges. And if you start putting all that junk into their head now, I mean, what are they going to be like as adults?
well, kids know, and they're not confused unless something's brought in that's not
Somebody
the
tries
truth,
to
and then
confuse them.
right. So, um, but that's providing a quality education, and unfortunately having to go so far as to do some of those
Mhm.
things that just seem so weird to me that we have to go that far. But it is what it is, and
Well,
we handled it, and
thanks for
there's
making that
there's
happen.
no confusion in Alabama law. Also, protecting our children from harm. It just seems like they're under attack from all directions these days, and so we've passed several bills to help protect our children. One is not allowing a pardon for sexual predators that have been convicted of a Class A or Class B felony crime, sex crime against a child. Now,
Mhm.
that's just a no brainer. They
Mhm.
cannot get a pardon.
Mhm.
We also passed the Sound of Freedom Act, and that gives an automatic life sentence to someone convicted of trafficking a minor in the state of Alabama, and that is the strongest law in the United States.
Should be.
And it was named after the movie The Sound of Freedom that I know probably a
Mhm.
good many of your listeners
Mhm.
saw. Um, as the times change, we have to change the laws to keep up.
Mhm.
Now it's all about AI, artificial intelligence. So we have actually had to change Alabama law to say that pornography created using artificial intelligence, digital created child pornography is child pornography and against the law in the state of Alabama
Mhm.
to keep up with technology. There
Mhm.
may not have been an actual physical victim in the making of that pornography, but it's still a crime because it
Mhm.
promotes
Mhm.
child pornography and
Mhm.
crimes against children.
I
So
would
we
like
had
to
to
see
keep
some,
up
and
with
I'll put that
that.
in writing and send. And you probably already working on this. I judged a little girl's a little tiny tots beauty contest once. I'll never do it again.
Mm.
I felt like Andy Griffith, the segment where he was, because I thought they were all cute. I mean, I wanted, and because I was the newbie on the block, they made me do and then all the mothers were mad. You can only make one mother happy. But there were some guys who were there,
Mm.
and I just sometimes you just get a feeling about people. And so we were on this little break, and I walked up to one of them and I said, "Do you have a child or a grandchild here?" He said no, and he knew that I was on to
Oh
him.
my goodness.
I was
Okay.
on to him. And so we have to be careful with our children. It's up to
Yes, we
moms
do.
and dads and grandparents if you're raising your grandkids to look out for those little kids because this is not in New York anymore. Not
No,
just New York, it's right here.
it is, unfortunately. And every child, it seems, has a cell phone these days. The ages of children getting cell phones is younger and younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is like, we used to tell our children, don't talk to strangers, and you only had to worry about it being in person, but
Yeah.
now there can be strangers in the palm of their hand, and things that they should not see in the palm of their hand. So we passed a bill in the House that would require cell phones to come with uh, an adult content filter on the phone that can be turned off by someone who is an adult who proves their age. But so just right out of the box, we should not have to worry that you know a young person is going to be subjected to
I'm so happy you came here today because I'll just have to tell you, I have a nephew. He was only 2 years old at the time. He got my iPad, and he was on the iPad looking at all kinds of stuff.
mm,
And my niece and her husband were just sitting there, and I said, he knows how to use the iPad, and he probably knew more about it than they did. So that's the problem. That's the issue. Is
mm-hmm.
kids are born knowing how to use a cell phone
That's
these
true.
days. And there's so many things. If you're a parent now, it's like you're working overtime overseeing your kids, and you don't want to keep them out of the world. I mean, nothing like that. But we got to know. We got to be aware.
We have to do what we can to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
Another agenda item was safer communities. We passed a bill last year that provided for minimum sentences for trafficking fentanyl. That is such a problem in all our communities, and it's the number one cause of death for young people aged 18
Mm-hmm.
to 45 is fentanyl. It's so deadly. We did pass a bill to be able to teach it about it in schools, to our school children, because it's
Mm-hmm.
literally like playing Russian roulette if they take any kind of pill that was not prescribed or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, given, by the parent, to teach kids to be careful about things that, don't
Mm-hmm.
even, put a gummy or anything it could have. It could be laced with fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we passed a law to be able to charge someone who provides a drug that's laced with fentanyl, charge them with manslaughter if that causes a death,
Mm-hmm.
because that's happening. And we literally had it happen in a case in Cherokee County where a young man dropped dead on the porch of an individual that he got the drug laced with fentanyl
That quick.
from. Just he, yes, that quickly. And he was charged under federal statute and spent just a short amount of time in federal prison, and he's back out. So we can't depend on the feds to
Mm-hmm.
seek harsher penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And so now in Alabama, we did pass that law that we can charge for manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so,
Should be. Should be. You know, something
mm-hmm,
I keep remembering. I'm from Anniston, Oxford area originally. And so I was with Rotary Club and I invited Sheriff Amerson.
mm-hmm.
He passed
Yes, he
away.
did. Good friend.
And
He's
just a
very much
sweet guy.
missed.
So
Yes.
I had him come and he was talking about, and it wasn't as bad then as it is now. And he was talking about some of this manufactured stuff people are making in their homes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he was telling us what to look out for, black windows, trash can where there's bleach and all that. He was telling us all about that. And he said, this is what happens. They make it so strong that these kids and adults will get this huge high. They're constantly trying to get that huge high again, which means they've got to constantly take more of whatever it is, however they take it in. And then it finally reaches this point where they're taking so much of it, that's why they die, because they're constantly trying to get that original high.
Mm-hmm.
Or the new drugs that people are making, manufacturing now, I'm pretty sure it's worse than it was back
It
then.
is. I mean, that's why we have to keep tweaking the law, because just changing one molecule changes whether or not it's covered under the law. And certainly with fentanyl, it is so deadly. I mean, just the tiniest amount can kill,
Mm-hmm.
and so it takes just such a minute amount,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just very very deadly, and it's being put in every kind of drug, even pot, but it's being
Mm-hmm.
put in, and it causes such um, a high that people are willing to risk their life, sadly, to get that high again. It's sad,
It's
and
almost,
and it
it's
can
it
kill.
is a self sabotage,
It's
basically.
literally playing Russian roulette to take anything
Mm-hmm.
that's bought illicitly like that, and that's another one of the reasons about the phones, because kids are purchasing these drugs through social media even.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we've got to teach our kids to be
Mm-hmm.
extraordinarily careful not to even try anything just once.
Yeah,
They're
it's just plain
Yeah,
evilness.
it sure is. It sure is.
Because again, our kids are our future, and it just has to be fixed. So, you got quite a few things you're working on there.
Well, I didn't know what you might ask me about, so
I'm just saying, keep doing what you're doing. I think this is pretty awesome. But I did just say this, and this is parental control. Sometimes parents feel like they don't have control. So I have a friend once, this was back in the 90s, okay, and it's even worse now. I know, but it sounds like I'm just bringing up bad news. But the daughter got into drugs, alcohol, and all
mm,
this kind of stuff. But every time, it was single mom, and every single time she tried to get everything under control, the girl would threaten she was going to call, the Department of Human Resources.
hmm
She would threaten that. And I remember telling her one time, I'd give her a reason to call them.
yeah,
That. But parents sometimes feel like they can't have control. Somebody's gonna call BHR or something. Anything in the guidelines, anything happening there where the parent feels like they have control.
well, I mean, there has to be something to it before they can investigate. Someone They do not take anonymous complaints. They're
Some mad teenager
Yeah,
out there.
right. So, there are frivolous complaints, and then there's, really legitimate complaints. But there's a process
Mm-hmm.
that all that goes through.
Because there are some that need
hmm
to be called
That's
on.
exactly right. hmm
I was talking with someone at Alabama Services, and it's a program right here in Alabama, rehabilitation for families and that kind of thing. And so she was talking about, some parents are actually selling their kids for sex so they can
Mm,
get the drugs.
sadly, it's
That
true.
blows my mind. And I said, oh, it's not happening around here. That's how naive I can be. And she said, oh, honey, it's here. And I said,
Sadly.
New York? No, here too.
Well, and see, here we are with Interstate 59 running through DeKalb County, and so very easy access from Birmingham to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
straight through Chattanooga. We're just in that triangle of,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, where trafficking takes place. So
It's
it
that
is
way in
something.
Oxford as well. We had I
The I
20
20, same thing.
halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta,
Yeah,
so a lot of
exactly.
thuggery went on.
Yes, yeah. So everybody always needs to keep their eyes and ears open.
Watch out for your neighbors.
hmm
Might save a kid's life too.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, you get that creepy feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
think God gives that to us for a reason, and especially moms being tuned to that. If you get that creepy feeling and you feel like I should, your child may get invited to spend the night somewhere you're not really familiar with that family. It's okay to say no. You don't have to give a reason. This is your child. If you get that creepy
Mm-hmm.
feeling, you know, be the bad parent and say no and protect your
Be
child.
mean. I was
It's
a mean
okay.
mother. I
It's
was a
okay.
mean mother, but now
Yeah,
we're friends.
that's right.
And now he says, now my son Brad says, I'm glad you were mean and evil to me back in those days. I said, me too. If I had to do over with again, I'd give you two whippings a day, whether you need it or not. But
Well, now
but
they understand it.
yeah, they
We just
get
had
it when
their
they
best
grow
interests.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
I always say you got to watch out for those kids now.
that's right. That's right.
So what else you working on?
Well, another area where this will be of great interest, because this is something that I've heard a lot about from my constituents, is when we get those tax assessment notices
Mm.
every year
Mm-hmm.
about how much our taxes have been appraised for, which causes what we have to pay in property tax to go up. And in this time of high inflation, and with property values just going up and up at a great pace, it really hurts, whenever we get those tax notices that have jumped up.
Ouch.
And in DeKalb County, I've got
You know
the,
what? We've got to go into a commercial break. because this is going to be one I got a lot of questions on. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain-fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
My Towels solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
mypillow.com.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday. You're very important to me. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us. But we've got a wonderful guest who's keeping everything running on smooth as possible can be, and you're looking out for us. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Donna.
So we talked a little bit about our kids, the school choices, all those things that are happening right now. Safety of our kids, that's extremely important. But before we went into a break, we started on another subject.
Yes, our property tax increases, the value being assessed every year, and it's not the fault of your tax assessor. You know, they're just doing their job, and then they don't personally. You know,
I'd hate to be working that office right now.
Yeah, they get all the calls.
Yeah.
But
what are you going up on my land taxes for? You
actually, that was something that was instituted by Governor Riley back in 2003. That instead of assessments every 4 years, our property is assessed every year.
And ouch, it hurt this year.
So it responds every year to the market changes. And as we're experiencing higher inflation and property values going up, and where they're jumping a lot just in a year's time. And, you know, right here in DeKalb County, our class 3 property, which is residential, our homes, that property tax, the assessment went up on average 35%. So folks saw an average 35% increase in their property values for residential property. And for class 2, which is business and personal, it was 36, right there at it. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big jump in a year. And then that causes our property tax that we have to pay to also jump, and it hurts. And so what we've passed in the House is a cap on that at 7%, so that it cannot jump more than 7% in a year. It can still go up, but capped at 7%. And there is a sunset on this, so that we have a chance to revisit it and see what the results are, and so hopefully it'll pass the Senate and become law to give us a little safeguard there, that we will not see these dramatic increases that hurt everybody.
It's been since we're sitting here on 38 acres with 2 houses.
Right.
And boy, did that hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something that we heard from our constituents about and responded to. Was the putting in a cap on the assessment.
It needs to be. Did you hear me stutter? It really does. I wanted to talk to you, we'll get into more of these, but I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Sure. And this is because there are so many different personalities with different folks you work with. I don't know how you get anything passed. I really don't, because everybody's got an idea, right?
And there's 140 House members and senators.
With 140 personalities.
Yes, very strong personalities. We're all a little
but you got a strong personality too.
And so
the right way.
You know, we all have opinions, and it's sometimes hard to get a majority when we have such strong opinions. And it's that way for a reason. I mean, really, it's hard to pass a bill, and it should be. It should be hard to pass a bill. So that, and sometimes, you know, I've talked about how many bills we've had introduced. We've had over 800, and we'll go up to close to 1,000. We only pass around 300. Sometimes what we don't pass is more important than what we do pass.
That's true.
To kill bad legislation. So now somebody thought it was good. They introduced it, but not everything that gets introduced needs to be passed. Of course, my bills, I need, my bills are all good bills. They need to be passed. So
That's true. That's true. But all those different personalities getting together. But I wanted to mention one thing. I like good diversity. I call it good diversity. Okay, it makes common sense. It's good for the family. It's good for the church. It's good for God. It's good for that's what I like.
right.
But when I was working in the corporate world. I've worked with GTE for a long time, very long time, and so I was interviewed by a television station in Anniston about cell phones. It was new. I mean, it was a new thing that kids are born with them now in their hands. But there was a time, boys and girls, that you didn't have a cell phone. So I was asked about the popularity of it and what have you, and I was asked how I dealt with customers, and I said I like rude customers. And that interviewer almost fell over. She said, "You like rude customers?" And I said, "They're to the point. They tell you what they want. They take all the work out of the guesswork is done. I mean, you don't have to guess where they're coming from." And I still do. I like rude customers because they tell you like it is. And again, the guesswork is taken out.
That's one way to look at it.
So, well, that's how I look at it. But there's a difference, and then I'm going to talk to you all about this, okay? Because there's a difference between a rude customer. There's a difference between somebody who just has this is my passion, and I'm going to fight for my passion because I got a passion. I hate seeing kids messed up.
Yeah.
I just do. When it could be taken care of, that's a passion of mine, and I will get in somebody's face about it. I just will, like I did the guy at the beauty contest. So, I mean, but there's a difference between being passionate about something and then just going to you guys and just wreaking havoc.
Well, and I think legislators are passionate. I know I am, and we're about many different, topics, and it shows, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, and we still need to be respectful, but I think it's okay to let your passion show.
But how do you deal with someone who is a bit on the liberal side?
Mm,
Now, let me rephrase that. Who is a lot on the liberal side? That'd be hard.
I just have to speak the truth, just like with these gender issues. I can't pretend. I cannot pretend that there's anything any different, Now, if somebody's an adult and they want to pretend and
Then want to go at
dress
it.
up, that's their prerogative to do so. But as far as the law goes, as far as what we're teaching our children, I can't veer from what the truth is. So I just speak the truth in love and just remain calm and, present the facts as I know them, to make my points and, hopefully get a message across and maybe change some minds if that's not theirs. So.
You never know.
Right.
I mean, you never know who's listening. There was a business close to my business. I was living in Oxford, and the guy there was a Muslim, and so we didn't know what to do with each other because he knew I was a Christian, and so he would go and pray to Allah every day at the back, wherever they point and all that, but I didn't go slamming doors and stuff like that, and I would slip by. I've often wondered about that guy, what happened to him. And the reason I wonder is because he got to the point where he would come to me at Christmas time and say, "Merry Christmas to you."
How about that?
And then at Easter, he would do the same thing. "Happy Easter to you." I had to kill him to do that. But I didn't make him. I mean, he just
Right,
did.
he did it.
So we showed mutual
It's respect
for each other.
It's all about respect.
And I often wondered, did he become a Christian? I wondered, and I didn't preach to him or anything like that. I just respected him and he respected me.
But Donna, you're more likely to reach someone by showing respect like that versus getting heated and in an argument and tell them, that they're wrong and argue just blah blah. I think much more likely to win someone over to your point of view by treating them respect and speaking the truth in love. So
that's
we're
it in a
supposed to
nutshell.
and I
That's
do
what
love
makes you a
everybody.
good representative.
Just because I disagree with someone doesn't mean that I hate them. I do not hate anyone.
Well, that's a lie
So-
right there. No, you can have difference of it.
That's
It
right.
seems to matter what it matters what the opinion is with some people, But yeah, I don't see the point in this arguing stuff.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody on Facebook go so. Oh yeah, you're right. That's just never
If
happened.
somebody starts that with me and they want me to be a liberal, they want me to do this, and they hound at me, I just turn a deaf ear. I mean, I just don't even listen to them. So we've got to be that way too, and we've got to be that way with our representatives as well. Because you're passionate about an issue, and I get it. I dig that.
I do too.
I
I
really do.
understand when people are very passionate about an issue. I do, because I am. So,
Now, what are some of the good things that you're working on right now?
well,
I mean, everything's a good thing. I'm talking about a little bit lighter.
we turn on the news and it just seems like it's all bad news. You hear about how bad the economy is and inflation, and we all feel it. We know that.
It hurts.
We do not need them to tell us about how high inflation is, because we know every time we go news. If I told you that there was a state that is number one in automobile production, number two in poultry. Now y'all ought to get this one. This one is a good. I'm sorry. It's number one in commercial airlines. We're number one in commercial airlines.
Oh.
Number two in automobiles. Number two in poultry. Number five in shipbuilding. Shipbuilding. Does that sound like Alabama?
Yeah, they're in that Gulf Coast.
But it is. I mean, that's Alabama. All those things are true about Alabama. We're number one in commercial airlines. And so things are going great in
the
Alabama.
Airlines caught me by surprise. I got the Gulf Coast.
Airbus. Airbus is in Mobile.
Yeah.
And so we do have a lot of things going good for us. We've had record budgets in the past 6 years. And it's because of being conservative with the spending. And we have a balanced budget in the state, which they do not have in Congress. So sometimes it hurts whenever cuts have to be made, but a lot of times we cut taxes and do things. We've cut the sales tax on groceries by a penny already. We have plans for continuing that. I hope we get to keep doing that to give some people relief at the grocery store. So all things are not bad. We do have when the governor came in, she looked at what do we need for this state to grow. We needed investment in infrastructure, in our roads and bridges, and water and sewer projects, and those are going on all around us. Every time y'all see the blue and white Rebuild Alabama signs, that's investment in infrastructure.
And it's extremely important, because a restaurant will not come to your town unless you've got a good sewage system. Those things are important. The water,
and we have a lot of needs still, and they're still working on it. But farmers need to be able to get their supplies in and their crops out, and manufacturing needs to be able to get their materials in and their product out. And so we were at a point of not being able to grow. We could not attract new business and industry because of the state of our infrastructure. And so we're rebuilding that. We had some economic development incentives that to attract business and industry to the state that were expiring. And so we renewed those to make us as competitive as the states around us that offer those. A very good return on investment. If I told you can invest in this and get 173% return on your investment, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
I'm on it.
That's what has happened with the economic development incentives that we have passed for the state. They have brought in 173% return on that investment and provided.
That's running it like a business.
$17 billion in capital investment, new coming into the state, 35,000 jobs. So that's part number two. Number three, this number is not so good. Our labor participation rate is 57.2%. That means that out of 100 people that should be in the workforce, only 57 out of 100 have a job and are participating in the workforce. And that number has been dropping in Alabama since the 70s.
You see I need help signs all over the place.
Everywhere.
And they're good paying jobs, so I don't get it.
Well, we're working on that. That's the third piece of the puzzle that we're working on. Nationwide, the workforce participation rate is 62.6%. So we are well below the nationwide rate. And in looking at the reasons, why are people not involved in the workforce? And we're identifying several different areas, and the number one seems to be with childcare, with access to quality, affordable childcare. And so we've just passed in the House an economic development package that will give tax credits to employers that can make capital investments to provide on-site child care, and
I'd dig that.
and then tax credits to pass on to their employees, for that child care. So that's one of the issues. Lack of affordable housing where there are jobs. So investing in those, because currently the rents that are available where there's tax credits for building multifamily housing, the rents do not pay what it takes to get a return on investment. So giving tax credits to help that investment to provide affordable housing in the locations where there are these jobs, to help people be able to afford a decent place to live and so that they can get a job. So we're identifying those areas and passing a workforce development package to address the needs, to try to get more people involved in the workforce and to get a job. One piece that I think is critical to this is a workforce pathways diploma. For kids in school who are not planning to go to college or get a 4-year degree, because the jobs in our economy right now don't always require that. I mean, certainly it's necessary for certain professional careers that a 4-year degree is required, but we have so many jobs available that require a skill, a trained skill. And so that is where the jobs are leading us into the future. Things like welding, just where working with one's hands is a very satisfying thing.
I'm not working with my hands. Is that Band-Aid right there?
Well, just like you and I both sew, and to be able to create something and to work and you see a product, that's very satisfying. So that's where the jobs are. And so to help students identify what is their God-given ability, where do they have a passion, what is something they have that we can help them to develop into a passion and a way to make a good living for themselves and their families and participate in the economy that keeps all the wheels turning. And so that's where our career tech skills come in. They are going to be so important as we transition and helping students identify, a skill that we can help them train. So as this workforce pathways diploma, a student will, instead of being required to take 4 math and science classes, only have to take 2, but then that's replaced by career tech courses, so that when they graduate from high school, they are workforce ready to move right into a job with a skill.
If I were young now, I'd be going for 2 of those diplomas. I'd have a house and a car paid off in no time. And don't worry about the college debt. And let me tell you about what a lot of companies will do. GTE, I was working with them, and what they would do if you decided you wanted to go back to school just to make your life better and better for the company, because you're always looking out for the company. And so you could go to whoever your supervisor was, your boss, my general manager, Ed, and you just go to him and say, look, I want to take some classes and it's going to make me a better employee for you. They would reimburse you.
Wow.
They would pay for your books. They would pay for everything. And a lot of folks out there say, well, I work for a company. They probably won't do it. Well, if you walk in with that attitude, they probably won't. But if you'll go to your boss and if you'll just say, look, I want to better you and I want to better me. I want to go to Northeast, or I want to go to Sneed, or I want to go to Gadsden State, whatever, and take some courses to make me a better person on your job. They'll ask for a couple of things. They're going to ask you to keep up a particular grade point average, and that's fair. And then they'll also get you to promise you'll be with them another year or so. So that way you can have your college paid for by your employer.
That's a great idea. Also, with this Workforce Pathways Diploma, there's scholarships available for that student to go on to a 2-year, 4-year school for training, because we're also utilizing our 2-year schools for workforce development training. So they partner with regional employers to see what kind of skills they need, and then those community colleges will develop programs to help train the students where they can get a job locally. So it's a good partnership.
Well, it's good, and then you're making it achievable because things change.
That's right.
Jeannie's not as old as I am, but I can tell you about the 8-track tapes, and
I
they would
had 8 track.
in your car. Okay, so and I was a music lover, and I know you were
Me
too.
too.
Bee Gees, man, all the way, all that stuff. And so I would have my car just crammed full of those things, and they were worthless if they got too hot.
Oh yeah,
Those things
they
would
would
just
melt.
they'd melt,
Yeah.
to pieces. And then as technology comes on, you get cassettes. Oh, I was just tickled to death when we went those little cassettes. And then you go to a thumb drive, and then you go to you just
CDs.
put
You
it
forgot
right. You got
CDs.
CDs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I had died and went to heaven when I got CDs. And then now you got your cell phone. You just download an app and play whatever you want to. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just the way it is with music these days. So I'm glad to see you guys are you're jumping over that hurdle because you're
Thinking
already
about the
getting ready
future.
for the next thing.
That's
The only
right.
thing is we're all a little concerned about AI,
Yes.
artificial intelligence. I can see some fantastic stuff coming out of it, but I can also see a crazed
Some
person.
things that are a little scary.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have a task force to look at those issues, and so like you say, it can be used for good or evil, and
Mhm.
just like we mentioned with the child pornography
Yeah.
that's created by artificial intelligence, we have to keep up with the times and make sure that things are used as they're intended and not used to harm people.
Mhm. I mean, I can see a lot of good. As a matter of fact, I had a show last week about that. Some of the good things, then we dove into some of the bad things that come out of it as well. But a lot of it's just using common sense too. I mean, and if it looks bad, it smells bad, something's just bad about it. Don't do it. That's
Right.
all I know to say to you. But all the things that are happening out there for the students, and then I wanted to mention this about welding. If I were younger now, I'd dig into welding. I would, and let me tell you why. Because you could be single, go to the water out there and work in water and make 6 figures the first year.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Then you miss your mama's cornbread and want to come back home again. You can do that and work for somebody or start your own business.
That's right.
And there's a man I know in Fife, and he's a welder, and he's retired. And so what he will do, his wife will say, "I want to go on a trip to Hawaii or something." And so what he'll do is just get in contact with some of the businesses around and say, "Do you need? Can I train your employees for a little bit? Just
That's
make some money
awesome.
on the side." So it can go with you throughout your entire life
That's right.
and get training as an apprentice. Those are things I'm preaching to the choir here, but my dad worked with his hands. Of course, he always moved up within the company, got in management with them, but he worked with his hands. We never missed a meal. No, we weren't millionaires or anything like that. We always had meat at every meal. I got to wear nice clothes. And that's because of the job that he had. But now those jobs have changed because I remember seeing him come in one time. It looked like he was going to lose his finger.
Oh no.
Well, those jobs out there are not there anymore because most everything's controlled by a computer.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, you young folks, you got the world.
They really do. I'm a little bit jealous.
I kind of am too.
I'm a little bit jealous at all the opportunities that they have. So
I went to work when I was at GTE. I was the government corporate accounts person. So I would go to some of the manufacturing companies in Anniston, and I was amazed to see banners that would say 10 days without an accident. And I would look at the personnel manager and say, "Where's my hard hat?" I'm afraid to walk in there.
Only 10 days.
Only 10 days. Well, now it's nothing like that. There's some manufacturing companies that could look like a hospital on the inside. They're that clean.
That's right. Yeah, they're sterile. They're sterile environments.
Yeah, so you parents need to be. It's not like it was back in the day. It's changed a whole lot in the manufacturing world.
It sure has. As a matter of fact, my younger son is a safety engineer, and that's his job is on the construction side, is training the employees, and of course taking care of folks if something bad does happen. But it's his job to try to keep bad things from happening on
And he
on the
gets to
job
be
site.
outside. He doesn't have to be stuck in
right.
an office
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. And when he did get a college degree for that, and it was a new degree, and we thought that he was wasting his time and our money in doing that. But he's it's a very good paying job, and it's in demand because all business and industry are concerned about safety.
They
So
are.
so it turns out it was a good career choice for him, and that's what he does.
I've talked to some of the technical colleges, and they talk about how they're teaching these kids, and they'll come back in a year or two and have a new truck
Yeah.
or a new car that they've paid cash for.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing. I'm glad to see those things are being put together. We have a little bit over 2 minutes left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before we go?
Well, just that it is my honor to be the representative for District 39, and I do try to vote my district and keep in touch. That's why I try to go to events and especially during the off session when I can to see the people and to hear what's on your mind and to just keep the pulse of the opinions of the folks in the district. So always glad to see them. And
I want to mention one thing too, and this is about our lack of voters.
oh, yeah, that's a
Now,
pet
that
peeve
could
of
be a
mine.
2 hour segment right
Yeah.
there. But spend a couple of minutes talking. Why is it so important that we get out, we ask questions, and I've asked her questions. You can do it. She's very touchable. So ask questions and
The-
just do your own research.
the
Don't even listen to
things-
me.
The things that legislators, I mean, whether it's on the local level, on the city county level, a state or federal level, the folks in these positions make decisions that affect our everyday lives, and so we really do need to be informed. And that's actually why I got into politics was having a teacher. My high school government teacher was the fourth woman elected to the Alabama legislature, and I didn't look at her and think I can do that or I want to do that. But because she instilled in me to, number one, know the issues, know who represents you, and to contact them and state your opinion. And I did that my whole adult life growing up, and it led to me running for office.
I know one thing that led to her running for office too. We met over 10 years ago, and so I was at an event in Gadsden,
Mm-hmm.
and you were there, and you walked up to me, wanted to know if I knew anything about the windmills. And I'm like, what about the windmills?
Yeah.
And she had a passion. She was thinking about farmers even then. I mean, you brought that to my attention. I had no clue.
Well, it was actually out of state groups coming to our state that wanted to harm our landscape in the name of alternative energy just to get the Obama tax credits.
Then they would have been gone.
Yeah. Then, they get the money, they get their tax credits, then they're gone. Then, we're left with damage to our environment. So it's kind of.
I would hate to think I had to dig all that concrete out of this 38 acres.
Right. And just, we are so blessed with an abundance of natural resources and the birds that we have. I mean, the bald eagles and to have those put in danger in the name of so-called green energy that turns out it's not so green. So yes, that was something I was
we
very,
got too many beautiful areas
very
here, and that's another
passionate
reason we
about.
want to move here because they're right here. We're right in the middle of all of the
yes,
big
tourism is edging out agriculture, not necessarily in DeKalb County, but in Cherokee County. They're right there neck and neck with agriculture as number one industry, and certainly it's a big industry to the state is tourism, and to people are, they don't have what we have. We're in the Mountain Lakes region. We're
waterfalls.
it really is God's country. We're not kidding. It is true. Just the mountains and the lakes. We're so blessed. We really are. We're blessed, and I'm proud that this is my district. When people visit, they just are in awe. They just say, "Wow, I just never knew this was here." So.
Yeah, we can't keep it our secret any longer.
Oh no, I want people to come and enjoy it. Yeah, sure
Absolutely.
do.
Jeannie, thank you so much for everything you do.
Well,
We
always
definitely
glad
appreciate
to be
it.
with you, Donna.
And thank you for watching. Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Take care, okay?